There's nothing quite as frustrating as dealing with an ex who pulls away, shuts down, or simply vanishes when things get too real. 1 minute, they're present, affectionate, maybe even talking about a future together. Next, they're distant, cold, and impossible to reach. If you've ever found yourself wondering why they seem to run from the very thing you were trying to build, you're not alone. Avoidant exes can be some of the most confusing people to deal with, because just when you think you understand them, they change the rules of the game. But here's the truth. It's not that they don't want love. It's that love to them feels like a trap. The closer you get, the more they feel the walls closing in. Their instinct isn't to hold on, it's to run, to protect themselves from something they may not even fully understand. Psychologists call this an avoidant attachment style, but in everyday reality it looks like them ghosting you, pushing you away when things get serious, or breaking up just when you thought everything was going well. And yet, paradoxically, many avoidants don't actually want to be alone. They crave connection just as much as anyone else. But the moment commitment feels too real, their fears take over. As the great Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Many avoidants aren't even aware of why they run. They just feel an overwhelming urge to escape. So what does this mean for you? Should you wait for them to come back? Should you chase them, prove your love, show them that commitment isn't scary? The hard truth is, the more you try to get close to an avoidant, the more they retreat. It's not personal. It's a deeply ingrained response, often rooted in childhood experiences where love felt conditional or suffocating. The more you push out, the more they run. And that leaves you feeling like you're chasing a mirage, always hoping they'll change, always waiting for them to wake up and see what they're losing. But what if I told you there's another way? Instead of focusing on them, on their fears, their inconsistencies, their ability to make you feel like you're never enough, what if you turned the focus back on yourself? As the legendary Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. If your avoidant ex has shown you, time and time again, that they fear commitment, then maybe it's time to believe them. Maybe it's time to stop chasing and start choosing yourself instead. That doesn't mean you have to be bitter or resentful. It means understanding that love should feel safe, secure, and mutual, not like an endless guessing game. And the moment you stop playing their game, you take back your power. Because real love isn't about convincing someone to stay. It's about finding someone who wants to. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why avoidants act the way they do, what their fears really mean, and most importantly, how you can break free from the cycle and step into the love you truly deserve. So if you're ready to finally get the answers you've been looking for, stick with me until the end. This could change everything. Ace Wisdom presents The Truth About Avoidant Exes and Commitment Fear. The first reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out is rooted in the concept of familiarity. They've experienced your patterns, your reactions, and your emotional rhythms so intimately that your silence becomes a source of comfort rather than distress. Avoidant individuals often thrive in predictable environments. They find solace in the routines and habits they've established, even in the context of a breakup. Your silence is just another predictable move in a game they know all too well. They recognize the signs, and instead of feeling uncertain or anxious about your absence, they feel reassured. In this sense, their behavior is paradoxical. While they may be keen observers of your life, watching your social media updates or asking mutual friends about you, they still choose not to reach out. This is largely due to their fear of vulnerability. Engaging with you means facing emotions they would rather avoid, such as guilt, regret, or even longing. Instead, they opt for the safe route, peering from a distance as they monitor how you're coping. It's as if they're perched on the sidelines of your life, comforted by the knowledge that you're still there, even if they can't bring themselves to connect. This distance also allows them to maintain a facade of control. By not reaching out, they keep the upper hand, avoiding any situation that could force them to confront their feelings or the consequences of their actions. They have conditioned themselves to believe that by staying silent, they can protect themselves from the vulnerability that comes with emotional engagement. Ironically, this coping mechanism stems from a place of fear. They fear that reaching out could lead to rejection or a confrontation they're simply not prepared to handle. So, instead of taking that leap, they prefer the safety of observation. Moreover, familiarity can lead to a distorted sense of entitlement. Avoidant exes may feel that they have a right to monitor your life, believing that their past connection gives them access to your current state. They might feel like they're entitled to know how you're doing, even if they're unwilling to participate in your life actively. This entitlement reinforces their choice to stalk rather than reach out, as they seek to satisfy their curiosity without having to face the emotional repercussions of re-establishing contact. However, this behavior is not without its consequences. While they may find comfort in their familiar patterns, their decision to stalk rather than communicate can leave you feeling frustrated, confused, and even hurt. You might wonder why they won't just reach out to check in or share their thoughts. Their silence can feel like a rejection, leaving you questioning your worth and the validity of your feelings. This emotional toll can be significant, especially when you're trying to move on and heal from the relationship. Ultimately, this familiarity, while providing comfort to avoidant exes, creates a cycle of stagnation. They may find themselves stuck in a loop, endlessly observing without ever stepping forward. This is where the true irony lies. By choosing to remain on the sidelines, they deny themselves the opportunity for growth and healing, both for themselves and for you. They become trapped in their own patterns, unable to evolve or progress, while you may feel the weight of their unacknowledged presence in your life. So, as we delve deeper into this topic, remember that understanding their motivations can be empowering. It helps you reclaim your narrative and step into your truth. Your silence isn't a weakness. It's a reflection of your choice to prioritize your emotional well-being over the toxicity of their unreciprocated attention. You deserve to break free from this cycle and embrace a life filled with authentic connections and genuine support. The second reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out lies in their profound fear of rejection and vulnerability. Avoidant individuals often struggle with intimacy and emotional openness. They've built walls around their hearts to protect themselves from the pain that can come with close relationships. When it comes to reconnecting with an ex, those walls can feel insurmountable, leading them to choose the path of least resistance, stalking rather than reaching out. This fear stems from a deep-seated belief that vulnerability equates to weakness. They worry that by reaching out, they might expose their true feelings, only to face rejection or dismissal in return. The idea of opening up, even for a moment, can feel terrifying for them. Instead, they'd rather keep you at a distance, watching from afar. By doing so, they avoid the discomfort of putting themselves in a position where they could be hurt again. This self-preservation instinct is often so powerful that it overrides their desire for connection, leading them to remain silent while still observing your life. Moreover, the fear of rejection can be exacerbated by their past experiences. Perhaps they've faced rejection before, or maybe they grew up in an environment where emotional expression was discouraged. These experiences shape their perception of relationships, making them wary of stepping out of their comfort zone. Even if they still have feelings for you, the prospect of being turned away can lead them to convince themselves that it's safer to stay hidden. They convince themselves that watching you from a distance is better than risking the chance of facing you directly, where their feelings might become painfully evident. Their fear of vulnerability is compounded by a desire to maintain control. By choosing not to reach out, they can keep the narrative in their hands. They can create a story in their minds where they are unaffected, allowing them to maintain a sense of composure. They often feel that if they don't reach out, they won't have to deal with the fallout, be it guilt, regret, or the emotional turmoil that can arise from reconnecting with someone they've lost. This facade of control provides them with a temporary sense of security, even though it ultimately isolates them further. But this fear doesn't just impact them, it also affects you. When you notice that your ex is stalking you, liking your posts, commenting on your stories, or asking about you through friends, you might feel a mix of emotions, confusion, anger, or even longing. Their silence creates a gap that can leave you questioning what they truly want. You might find yourself waiting for them to take the initiative, wondering if they still care, all while they remain locked in their cycle of fear and avoidance. This dynamic can be incredibly frustrating and emotionally draining, as you may feel caught in a limbo where clarity is elusive. Ultimately, their fear of rejection and vulnerability keeps them trapped in their patterns. They become spectators of their own lives, watching as you move on without them. By avoiding genuine connection, they miss out on opportunities for growth and healing. They may spend their time scrolling through your life online, but what they really desire, true connection, remains just out of reach. They don't realize that by failing to confront their fears, they're not only depriving themselves of authentic relationships, but also creating an emotional void that leaves them feeling lonely and unfulfilled. As we explore these dynamics further, remember that understanding their fears can be a powerful tool for your own healing. Recognizing that their stalking behavior is more about their limitations than about you can help you reclaim your narrative and your emotional space. You deserve relationships built on mutual understanding and vulnerability, not the anxiety that comes from the unspoken rules of an avoidant ex. The third reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out is their deep-seated desire for control. For many avoidant individuals, maintaining a sense of control over their environment and relationships is paramount. This desire can manifest in various ways, particularly in how they navigate their interactions with you post-breakup. Instead of directly reaching out, which would require them to confront their emotions and the potential chaos that comes with it, they choose to observe from a distance. This allows them to maintain a semblance of control over the situation while keeping their emotions at bay. Control for avoidance often means avoiding vulnerability and the unpredictable nature of emotional intimacy. They've learned, perhaps through past experiences, that when they open themselves up to others, they risk being hurt. By not reaching out, they can maintain the upper hand and manage their emotional exposure. They believe that by keeping you at a distance, they can shield themselves from potential pain, while simultaneously feeling secure in their ability to monitor your life. This creates a false sense of security that they find comforting, even as it limits their ability to connect meaningfully with you or anyone else. Moreover, this desire for control can lead to an obsessive focus on your actions and decisions. They may stalk your social media accounts, scrutinizing every post, comment, and like. In doing so, they create an illusion of involvement in your life without actually engaging with you. This behavior can feel like a game to them, where they are the spectators and you are the star. By observing rather than interacting, they can manage their emotional responses and avoid the risk of feeling overwhelmed. It's a way for them to remain present in your life while sidestepping the potential emotional upheaval that comes with direct communication. However, this desire for control ultimately backfires. While they may think they are successfully managing their emotions, their choice to avoid direct contact can lead to deeper feelings of insecurity and isolation. They may convince themselves that they are better off without you, yet their stalking behavior indicates otherwise. Their attempts to maintain control become a double-edged sword, as they lose the opportunity to express their feelings and establish genuine connections. They might be unable to recognize that true control comes from being honest with themselves and others, rather than from monitoring someone's life from afar. This behavior can also create an emotional roller coaster for you. When you see your ex engaging in stalking behaviors, liking your posts or asking friends about you, it can evoke confusion and frustration. You might find yourself wondering why they are watching but not participating. Their control tactics can leave you feeling vulnerable and exposed, as if you're under a microscope. This dynamic can hinder your healing process as you grapple with the uncertainty of their intentions. It's a reminder that their need for control does not take into account your emotional needs, which can be incredibly hurtful. Ultimately, their desire for control serves as a barrier to genuine connection. They may be stuck in a cycle of fear and avoidance, too afraid to reach out and too attached to their need for security. This behavior not only impacts their emotional well-being, but also complicates your healing journey. By choosing to stalk rather than communicate, they rob themselves of the chance to evolve and grow, remaining trapped in a narrative that doesn't serve them. As we continue to explore these dynamics, remember that their need for control is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a manifestation of their limitations. Understanding this can empower you to reclaim your narrative and focus on your own growth and healing. You deserve relationships based on mutual respect and openness, free from the constraints of someone else's need for control. The fourth reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out stems from their emotional disconnection and avoidance tendencies. Avoidant individuals often struggle with expressing their emotions and forming deep, meaningful connections with others. This disconnection is a defensive mechanism they've developed over time, making it easier for them to navigate relationships without getting too vulnerable. Instead of confronting their feelings, they withdraw into themselves, often leading to a pattern of emotional avoidance that can be particularly pronounced after a breakup. When faced with the aftermath of a relationship, Avoidance may find it challenging to process the emotions that arise. The pain of a breakup can be overwhelming, and instead of allowing themselves to feel that pain, they may choose to numb themselves. This emotional disconnection prevents them from reaching out, as doing so would require acknowledging their feelings, something they're often unwilling or unable to do. Instead, they resort to stalking as a way to keep tabs on you without having to engage on an emotional level. It allows them to feel some semblance of connection while remaining safely detached. Additionally, their avoidance of emotions can create a significant barrier to communication. They may have internalized beliefs that expressing emotions is a sign of weakness, or that vulnerability is something to be feared. This mindset can lead them to convince themselves that reaching out would be a mistake, as it might force them to confront feelings they are not ready to face. Thus, they prefer the safety of watching you from a distance, where they can control their emotional responses and avoid the discomfort of genuine interaction. This emotional disconnection can also lead to a distorted perception of relationships. Avoidance may idealize the past or focus on the positives of their previous connection with you while ignoring the reasons for the breakup. This selective memory can make it difficult for them to recognize the need for change or growth. They might find themselves reminiscing about the good times, leading to an urge to check in on you, but they quickly retreat to their comfort zone when it comes to actually making contact. Stalking allows them to engage in this nostalgic behavior without the risk of facing reality. However, this emotional avoidance doesn't just affect them, it impacts you as well. When you notice their stalking behaviors, it can evoke a sense of frustration and hurt. You may feel that they care enough to observe, but not enough to engage, leaving you questioning your value in their eyes. Their reluctance to reach out can create confusion, making it difficult for you to move on. It can feel like you're caught in a limbo where their presence is felt but never acknowledged, complicating your healing process. Ultimately, the cycle of emotional disconnection and avoidance leaves both parties in a difficult position. Avoidants miss out on the opportunity for growth, healing, and deeper connections, while you may feel frustrated and hurt by their inaction. Their inability to confront their emotions not only isolates them, but also undermines the possibility of a more meaningful relationship should the circumstances change in the future. As we delve deeper into these dynamics, it's essential to recognize that their emotional disconnection is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a manifestation of their struggles. Understanding this can empower you to focus on your healing journey and seek out relationships where emotional openness and vulnerability are embraced. You deserve to be in connections that nurture your soul and allow for authentic expression, free from the limitations of someone else's emotional avoidance. The fifth reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out is tied to their need to maintain an illusion of independence. For many individuals with avoidant attachment styles, self-sufficiency is paramount. They pride themselves on being emotionally self-reliant and may feel that reaching out after a breakup would signify weakness or a dependence on others. This belief fuels their behavior, leading them to observe your life from a distance while avoiding any direct communication. This desire for independence often stems from past experiences where emotional reliance on others may have resulted in pain or disappointment. As a defense mechanism, avoidants learn to cope by distancing themselves emotionally. They convince themselves that they don't need anyone, including you, and that they can thrive on their own. Stalking, in this context, serves as a way for them to remain connected without compromising their perceived independence. They can monitor your life, ensuring they're still in the loop without actually having to engage on an emotional level. Furthermore, avoidant exes often equate independence with strength. They believe that showing vulnerability by reaching out would expose them to emotional risk and diminish their sense of self-worth. This mindset can create a paradox where, despite their lingering feelings for you, they feel compelled to uphold their independent persona. They may watch your social media updates, keeping track of your life, but they resist the urge to communicate directly. In their minds, reaching out would be tantamount to admitting that they still care, which they view as a weakness. However, this illusion of independence can lead to significant internal conflict. While they may outwardly project a sense of strength and self-sufficiency, their actions reveal a different story. Their stalking behavior indicates that they are still emotionally invested in you, even if they won't acknowledge it openly. This disconnect between their internal feelings and external behavior can create a profound sense of loneliness and frustration. They want to maintain the facade of independence, but in doing so, they deny themselves the opportunity for deeper connections and emotional fulfillment. For you, the impact of their need for independence can be confusing and hurtful. When you notice them keeping tabs on you, whether through social media or mutual friends, it can feel like they are engaged in a game of emotional chess, always one step removed. You may wonder why they can't just reach out if they still care. Their refusal to communicate can leave you feeling undervalued and questioning the authenticity of their feelings. It's challenging to reconcile their stalking behavior with the silence that follows, making it difficult to move forward in your own healing process. Ultimately, the desire to maintain an illusion of independence can hinder both their growth and yours. By avoiding vulnerability, they miss out on the chance to confront their feelings and develop healthier emotional connections. This pattern of behavior can leave them feeling trapped in a cycle of loneliness, all while they attempt to project an image of strength. Their reluctance to reach out only reinforces the very barriers they've built around themselves, preventing them from evolving and experiencing genuine intimacy. As we explore these dynamics further, remember that their need for independence is not a reflection of your worth or value. Understanding this can help you reclaim your narrative and focus on your own journey towards emotional connection and healing. You deserve relationships that honor your feelings and allow for open communication, rather than being defined by someone else's fear of vulnerability. The sixth reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out is rooted in their struggle with nostalgia and fear of the unknown. Avoidant individuals often have a complicated relationship with their past, particularly when it comes to romantic connections. They may find themselves reminiscing about the positive moments shared with you while simultaneously grappling with the fear of what moving forward could mean. This internal conflict leads them to stalk rather than reach out, as they oscillate between wanting to reconnect and fearing the vulnerability that comes with it. Nostalgia plays a significant role in their behavior. When avoidants look back at the relationship, they may focus on the moments that brought them joy and comfort, conveniently glossing over the reasons for the breakup. This selective memory can create an emotional tug-of-war, where they yearn for the connection they once had, but feel unprepared to confront the reality of their emotions. Stalking allows them to indulge in this nostalgia without the commitment of actual engagement. They can observe your life, reliving memories in their minds, without having to face the complexities of rekindling a relationship. Simultaneously, the fear of the unknown can be a powerful deterrent for avoidant exes. The idea of reaching out can trigger anxiety about what that interaction might entail. They might worry about how you would respond, what emotional baggage would resurface, or whether they would be able to handle the fallout if things didn't go as they hoped. This fear can lead to paralysis, where the prospect of reconnecting feels overwhelming. Instead, they retreat into the safety of their memories and the familiar patterns of stalking, allowing them to maintain an emotional distance while still feeling connected to you. This combination of nostalgia and fear creates a cycle of indecision. They may find themselves caught in a loop, longing for the past while being too afraid to reach out and create new memories. The haunting thought of what if lingers in their minds, intensifying their emotional struggle. They might wonder if they could have a better relationship with you now, or if they've missed their chance altogether. Yet, rather than risk reaching out and potentially facing rejection or disappointment, they choose the safer route of watching from afar. For you, this dynamic can be incredibly frustrating. You may see them engaging in stalking behaviors, posting about their lives, or interacting with friends, and you might wonder why they don't just communicate their feelings. Their nostalgia can feel like a tease, making you question their intentions and the authenticity of their lingering attachment. This ambiguity can hinder your healing process, leaving you in a state of confusion as you navigate the complexities of your emotions while they linger in the background. Ultimately, the interplay of nostalgia and fear of the unknown keeps avoidant exes in a state of emotional limbo. They are caught between the desire to reconnect and the instinct to protect themselves from potential pain. This struggle prevents them from moving forward, both in their own lives and in their relationship with you. By choosing to stalk rather than engage, they miss out on the opportunity for growth, connection, and healing that comes from facing their fears. As we continue to explore these themes, it's essential to recognize that their nostalgic longing and fear of the unknown are not reflections of your worth, but rather manifestations of their struggles. Understanding this can empower you to focus on your own healing journey and seek relationships that embrace openness and vulnerability. You deserve connections that are rooted in authenticity and mutual respect, free from the constraints of someone else's unresolved feelings. The seventh reason why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out is closely linked to their unresolved emotions and fear of confrontation. Avoidant individuals often struggle to process and articulate their feelings, particularly when it comes to the end of a relationship. Instead of confronting the complex emotions that arise after a breakup, such as grief, regret, or longing, they may choose to retreat into their comfort zone. This avoidance manifests in stalking behaviors, as they attempt to engage with you from a distance while refusing to address the underlying emotional turmoil. Unresolved emotions can create a significant barrier to effective communication. Avoidant exes may feel overwhelmed by the feelings associated with the breakup, unsure of how to express their pain or vulnerability. This discomfort can lead them to bury their emotions rather than face them head-on. As a result, they may find solace in watching your life unfold from afar, observing your actions and interactions, rather than confronting their own feelings or reaching out to discuss the past. This passive approach allows them to maintain a facade of emotional stability, even as they grapple with their inner conflict. The fear of confrontation is a powerful deterrent for many avoidant individuals. They may associate confrontation with conflict, pain, or rejection, leading them to avoid any situation that requires them to engage in meaningful dialogue about their feelings. This avoidance can extend to discussions about the relationship itself. Instead of addressing the issues that led to the breakup, they might prefer to stay silent, convinced that doing so protects them from the potential emotional fallout. The thought of facing you directly and having to articulate their feelings can be too daunting, prompting them to retreat into their usual patterns of behavior. This dynamic creates a frustrating cycle for both parties. While the avoidant ex may feel a sense of comfort in their silence and stalking behaviors, you may experience confusion and hurt. When they don't reach out, it can feel as though they're denying the reality of the situation, leaving you to wonder about their true feelings. Their avoidance can make it difficult for you to find closure or clarity, as you may feel trapped in a state of uncertainty regarding their intentions. Furthermore, the unresolved emotions that fuel their stalking can lead to an unhealthy fixation on the past. They may idealize the relationship and become stuck in a loop of nostalgia, all while avoiding the difficult conversations that could lead to healing. This fixation prevents them from moving forward, both emotionally and in their relationships with others. Instead of embracing the opportunity to learn from their experiences, they remain entrenched in a pattern of avoidance that limits their emotional growth. Ultimately, their unresolved emotions and fear of confrontation leave them stuck in a cycle of emotional turmoil. While they may believe that their approach allows them to maintain control, it actually hinders their ability to connect with others and heal. By choosing to stalk rather than engage, they miss out on the chance to face their feelings and evolve as individuals, remaining trapped in a narrative that does not serve them. As we continue to explore these themes, it's crucial to understand that their avoidance is not a reflection of your worth or the value of the relationship you shared. Recognizing this can empower you to focus on your healing journey, seeking out connections that encourage open communication and emotional honesty. You deserve relationships that foster mutual understanding and respect, free from the constraints of someone else's unresolved fears. As we wrap up our exploration of why avoidant exes stalk you but won't reach out, it's essential to remember that their behavior is often rooted in their own struggles with fear, control, and emotional avoidance. While it can be frustrating and confusing to navigate the complexities of their actions, understanding these dynamics can empower you to reclaim your narrative and focus on your own healing journey. You deserve connections built on mutual respect and open communication, relationships that honor your feelings and encourage emotional growth. If you've resonated with today's discussion, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your own experiences and consider how you can apply these insights to your healing process. Remember, you are not defined by someone else's inability to engage. Your worth is inherent, and you have the power to create a fulfilling future for yourself. Before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Bay.